Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
And very good morning to you. Welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo and broadcasting on TV1. And there is no guest this morning. This morning it's a special edition of Newsline. It's called the Bandula and Faraz version of Newsline. And joining me obviously on set is Mr. Bandula Jayasekara. Welcome.
Good morning, Faraz.
Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
How the devil have you been?
Very good.
Your Talk of the Town segment last morning on Yes FM, it went down a treat.
Yeah, definitely. I say we have to increase the fines
To 2,500.
to 10,000, and we should also make sure that even the Minister of Finance is fined. They also have to follow the
But
rules.
he doesn't drive. He's got Schumacher as his driver.
No, but they can't do, with these backup vehicles. There are issues there.
But this is a new vehicle, a Mercedes-Benz GLS.
But I don't think he needs a vehicle. Minister of Finance, I don't think he even should take even his salary. He can follow Donald Trump.
Trump, yes. Trump is only taking $1. I think we've got a breaking news this morning. Absolutely devastating news. I wonder if they're putting it on the screen now. A police sub-inspector has been killed in a shooting which took place in a hamlet off Kurunagala. The shooting took place when the police responded to a tip-off on an unidentified car which was parked at a hotel in the area. Police said that during the raid, two shooters who were in the car had opened fire on the police. And the police further added that the two police officers had died on the spot, while three other police officers were injured and admitted to the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital. The police sub-inspector was killed. We have the latest reports is that two officers were killed. That's subject to confirmation. The shooters have fled the area, and according to the Kurunagala police, they are conducting investigations to apprehend the culprits. And that is the devastating news to greet us this morning. Bandula, isn't it awful that this happens? These two officers have apparently died on the spot in the pursuit of their duties. What's the country coming to?
I think the police force also should be strengthened. They should be given a free hand. Plus, they should also people should support them, because they are also not finding it easy. Like they have their issues, salary issues, and all that. Then it should be really an independent police.
Indeed, but it's a crying shame, isn't it? And we wonder whether, in terms of their pension arrangements, whether there is any such thing that they too have to serve a minimum of so many years, like the armed forces. Remember that?
Yeah, they have, but they go through lots of difficulties, so we really should support them. Like politicians should keep off. They should,
shouldn't they? But the president has said that he was unhappy with certain aspects of policing and investigating. But it seems to have worked, because almost on a regular basis, President Sirisena watches and watches, and when it comes to a certain point which is only known to him, he makes these statements, which then sets the cat amongst the pigeons, and there appears to be action thereafter. So good things happen when the president speaks.
Yeah, not only when he speaks, he should follow and monitor. That's his job.
That's his job.
That's his job as the commander-in-chief. He is the commander-in-chief.
Indeed he is. But also, Bandula, do you think that it's a question of here we go again with the budget? It all seemed fine, and all of a sudden comes this announcement that no, the water rates will not be increased. And of course we have to thank our president for initiating that.
But I would
change.
say we don't have to thank anybody, because it's their duty to serve the people. Politicians, that's their job. Let them do their job, because they are appointed and elected by us. They are the people's representatives. Now what happens in this country, they try to control us, put the people down. That's it doesn't happen like that in the West.
That's true. Yesterday there's a voice cut from the Minister of Finance in which he opined that the central bank was highly politicized, and he took umbrage with the Monetary Board, saying that they're not there to run the country, but are there to administer the policies decided upon by the ministry. Is that a fair comment?
But I don't think the Minister of Finance can even comment on the central bank, because that doesn't come under him.
That's true. That's true. It's one of those huge premeditated actions that are now impacting adversely on our country.
No banks are under him.
That's right.
I mean, like you have said jokingly that only the blood bank is under him.
Well, that's right. Somebody said that, didn't they? But it's a bit odd that we have the Minister of Finance and he's not in charge of the subject of the main mechanism, the central bank. And that is hiding away under one Ranil Wickremesinghe, the Minister of National Economic Development.
Yeah, so that's, he should comment on that. And then why, I thought...
Well, we have Kabir, don't we?
Kabir, yeah, so I think all those banks are under him.
Yes, the public enterprises are under him.
So it's very strange. The first time in the history must be that the finance minister is not...
split so much. But the rules and the statutes refer to the minister in charge of the subject of finance, the Minister of Finance. But lo and behold, when you examine who's listed under where, the central bank is not to be seen under the Ministry of Finance.
And I'm wondering now, he signs the notes, right? The currency notes. Then I think the Prime Minister should sign that. Why should? Yeah, why should the finance minister? It doesn't come under him.
That's right. It's all a bit lopsided. But isn't that the same across much of our country?
Yeah, very much.
We have these people who are in the rural areas, who continue to suffer, and it's programs like Gamada that uncovers the hardship, but not only uncovers, we're actually doing something about it, aren't we?
And did you also read now in today's Mirror business, Malik Samaravikrama? He said Malik tells aging corporate leaders to make way for young blood. How old is Malik Samaravikrama?
Oh goodness me, is that really? Is that right?
Yeah, really. He says, and then the report says that they avoided, talking about the country's political sphere.
Who's that from? From the Daily Mirror? Well, I mean, surely Malik, well, he certainly looks about 70.
Yeah, he must be about 70.
He must be knocking 70.
70.
So what right has he got to talk? I thought at 70 people start shining then.
Yeah, so so this is the problem for us in this country. He cannot follow his own advice, but he tells. Then most of these politicians should retire.
They should.
Yeah,
they should.
The former presidents, they should retire. They should be at home.
Actually, what is it that is holding these people? They seem to be wanting to be in the limelight. President Chandrika Kumaratunga, President Rajapaksa, they seem wholly unable, incapable of giving it up.
Power. I think they cannot lead normal lives. Even though they are trying to lead the people, the masses, they can't. They are used to all these perks and facilities.
Is it a fear of having lost power, losing their grip on power?
Definitely. I mean, why can't they be like other world leaders, other politicians? They can let go. So this is the problem for us in this country. They don't want to let go of things.
Do you think that there comes a time, or that the time is almost there, almost nigh, for the people of Sri Lanka to turn to the private sector to run the country?
Yeah, definitely. Now see, what Malik says is the corporate leaders make way for young blood. So what about them? So they are not allowing people, to young and honest people, to come into politics.
Yes, I mean they could give that young fellow Buddhika Patirana, for example, give him a bit more responsibility.
So these are very stupid comments for them to make. So can we respect these politicians?
Indeed. What about this issue of water? We have a wonderful photograph in the salon today of President Sirisena drinking a glass of water.
But they have appointed for us a 3-member committee.
Oh no.
Of Hakim, Ravi Karunanika and Sarath Thammanunga.
A 3-member committee?
Committee to look into, re-examine the high.
And who are these 3 members? All 3 UNP lawyers?
No, we have Rauf Hakim, Sarath Thammanunga and Ravi Karunanika.
Oh.
Why do we need committees? I mean, the previous government also had committees. These people also having committees.
If you remember, some months ago, when Mr. Hakim was on our program on Newsline, he alluded to a possible rise in the prices. So they've had this plan for some time, haven't they? It's about a year ago when he came on our program.
Yeah, but then my question is, do these ministers pay for their water, their electricity? They are given all these facilities. Do they pay? If they are not paying, they should tell us, and we can inform the masses, the public. They are getting given all these facilities.
How much do you think it all costs us, the people, to keep a minister in office?
I think Mr. W. Vijayawardena, who was here on our program, he said more than 2 or 3 million, that they had done a calculation per month.
Oh goodness!
We should get him to explain more about it.
Perhaps yes, indeed, that's a good idea. But Mr. Vijayawardena suddenly got very busy. Do you think that it's better to pay the ministers a lump sum money of say 2 million a month and tell them no perks, nothing?
Yeah, this is what, like in Singapore, that's what I think, was it Vijayawardena or somebody else said, they should pay that, and they should pay everything within that, their security, everything. That's how Singapore does.
Yeah.
So then they will not hire 10 security, they will have because they have to do all within that. That should be the case for us.
Because a lot of them employ, whether it's obviously legitimate, but they hire members of their own family who don't really work there, but on paper they do. Yeah. So you have secretaries and advisors and consultants and so on. It's another way of pulling out some money.
Yeah, no, and then the foreign ministry is trying to follow certain Singapore systems, like having a principal, monitoring the foreign ministry, so we can learn from Singapore and follow that. People will not mind.
They're talking about the foreign ministry. It's obviously one of those ministries that costs a lot of money. How much of this, you've been in the diplomatic service, so who gets to choose the hotel?
I'm sure the minister does. The person, does.
So is there really a need to go and stay at the Bel Air, whatever it is?
There's no need.
Club?
I would say I really don't know the present situation, but I know the previous also. When during even the peace talks, I remember in Geneva, where everybody, the delegation stayed that accommodation provided by the Norwegians, where the former minister Rohit Bogalagam, he wanted Sheratons and various other places. He could have stayed with others. It is the face of the country, the foreign ministry, which is very important. But they don't need all that. Certain things, there are certain protocols and all are necessary, but you can leave it like medium range hotels.
Indeed.
But sometimes also you must explain, when delegation goes, it's provided by the host government.
Right.
Certain people are hosted, but not the full delegation.
Well, that's about fair. But when our treasury has to pay, then I think they ought to be a bit more mindful. Because if it was their company, I don't think I think they'd be a bit more circumspect when choosing.
True, but then they cannot go and say, they have to receive their colleagues, the ministers, sometimes, so there are certain protocols. There has to be a reasonable, a decent hotel they should stay, because it's the foreign and it's the face of the public, face of the country.
Did you ever travel with the former president to the Middle East?
I think I've been to Qatar and Kuwait. I have traveled.
Did they slip out whilst you were not looking and open a bank account somewhere in Dubai or Abu Dhabi?
I was not watching over.
You weren't.
The president, he had these people, he had his
because
security.
There's continuous allegations that the Rajapaksas and their associates have bank accounts, or at least an account in the Emirates, either in Dubai or
But I
Abu
thought
Dhabi.
for us, if CID went, and I've read in the Sunday Times that they went and investigated, lots of people traveled, lawyers. What happened? I don't know what happened to that. They went and checked on them.
And what about this whole matter, back to our my favorite subject, the central bank bond. What's happening to that, Bamula? Do you get the feeling that there's some sort of whitewash going on,
I think so. This is what the President's Council Hemant Varnapallu was explaining to us yesterday. So was the deputy of the island. We should keep it alive. We are keeping it alive on behalf of the people.
Indeed.
That's important.
Some people say that it's time to change the tune. Do you agree?
No, how about, if anybody is wrong, there should be accountability, responsibility. After all, this is the Yahapalana.
Indeed. As usual, there are lots of questions coming along here. There's all sorts of... Why can't we lobby the president to a corner asking him to cancel MPs' vehicle permits, pensions and other unwanted perks?
I think we should do it, but it's not only as the people should rise for us, because not now. See, we wait for the next election, the 5 years. But in the other countries, they put pressure on their representative. They email, they talk to them, they meet them. There's lots of pressure.
That's right,
on their representatives.
Perhaps we should remind our viewers that it's entirely possible for you too to get hold of the minister's email addresses. It's usually all on the web, and send them an email.
And also, if you remember that when you address Rotary Club in Colombo, I mean, people are asking us questions and they are telling us to do this.
That's right.
But what about them? Even the corporate leaders, they also should stand up.
That's right.
They also should, do their part. Media is doing under difficult circumstances.
But a lot of these corporates, I was a bit disappointed in a way when this government first came in and the minister imposed the super gains tax. I was waiting for some of these corporates to take a stand and say, well, no, we're not going to do it because it's not on. We've already spent that money, we've made allocations, we've reinvested and so on. And now you're coming along and backdating it and charging us 25%. And on top of that, it was called ill-gotten gains. I mean, if that's ill-gotten gains, and if those were whirlwind windfall profits, Bandura, what do you call the profits made by some primary dealers licensed by the central bank? The one company has reported 5.2 billion in 1 year. I don't want to mention the name for obvious reasons. Another, the same company, its cumulative total is over 11 billion rupees.
But the guests here, the politicians, they have called it a robbery.
Yes, but some people called it a notional loss. I find that highly amusing, because if it's a notional loss, some of this money is now being used to purchase other businesses and investments in banks and so on.
And it's very interesting what, I don't know, our viewers will recall yesterday what Mr. Divgunasekara said at the press conference.
Indeed.
They're purchasing various institutions.
That's right. And so there is that to contend with. But actually, judging by the number of people who've stopped you, stopped me, sent emails, SMSs, telephone calls, telling us that it is absolutely essential what we are doing, because we've been highlighting it. And a lady who met me in one of these shopping centres yesterday said that if not for this network, they would be quite oblivious to what was happening at the central bank. God forbid if the president hadn't changed that governance.
But for us, there's something interesting. Where the island carried an editorial. What about the unions? What are they doing? Because this EPF, ETF money.
Yes.
What are the unions? Why are the unions silent?
It's absolutely astonishing. Without naming names, right? We had one company who's a primary dealer who's bought some bonds at quite a high. He got quite a high rate of interest. He then sells direct to EPF. And obviously he's made a profit, about 1.8 billion worth of profit out of the EPF. But the point to understand here is that the EPF could have gone and bought it from the top at the auction. They didn't have to wait and buy it from another primary dealer, because obviously everybody's in this for the money. They're not selling it out of some sort of charitable exercise. They're making money. So they sell to this other dealer. That other dealer, within hours of doing that, on the same day, sells it to this waiting captive audience, which is the EPF. It all smells.
Our money.
Our money. The people's money. And it's a bit rich for anyone to say that this is not public money. It is public money because it is the people's hard-earned, hard-toiled money. They're
What
just
do you
bonds.
think they're doing with this money? Apart from buying various things, you think they think that we don't live forever, it's a short life we got?
They're turning it white, from black to white. It brings to mind immediately a song by the king of pop, Michael Jackson, Black or White. But you know, it's absolutely astonishing. When is this all going to stop, Bandana?
But I think the political leaders, the leaders of this country should intervene. They should take this up. Because we elected them for that, to have Yahapalana.
Indeed, to re-establish good governance. And the reason I'm mentioning this bond matter and so on is that in the heat of the moment of the budget, everyone seems to have forgotten the bond matter. And it was after a long battle that the COPE report was finally out. And now it again seems to be stuck in some sort of mire. If we don't watch out, it'll just all of a sudden get engulfed and it'll just disappear.
No, we can't let that do, because you heard the JVP leader Andukumar Disanayake said each person in this country has to pay 20,000 rupees
That's right.
on this case, this bond issue.
Indeed.
So, you know, you cannot let anybody rob 20,000 from each of us.
And that's
whole
an
country we are
astonishing amount of money.
And we should keep these issues alive because it's important. But in Sri Lanka, as you know, people they forget, or the politicians want us to forget. That should stop.
Oh yes, but I think on this particular matter, the conscience of the nation has been aroused, and this bond matter has permeated to all levels of society. I was in a little village off Balangoda recently, and at a function there, and a person there said to me, "Can you tell me the real story behind," he called it Mahabankwe Wanchawa. Right? So it suddenly struck me that information is power, and when our network reaches across through the airways, through the satellite links, through the telephone links, and of course through the internet, the information is being digested by the masses like never before.
And we are empowering the masses. That's another thing what we are doing. The media is playing the role. The media is playing the role of not only the opposition, now the role of the government by government.
Indeed. And we, this channel, Sirasa, Shakti, TV1, Newsfirst, we're going to all corners of this country in pursuit of reporting. We report, you decide. So it is our incumbent duty. And you know, we are lucky at Newsfirst because our independence is maintained, obviously because our publisher has the commitment to media freedom and to report and to hold those in office accountable and responsible. Without that publisher and his commitment to that, we would be unable to perform and to do our duty.
I must add to that, you know, I wrote an article last week to the Island. Now you're talking of independence. The Secretary of the Media Ministry is using very good BMW vehicle.
Right.
Taxpayers' money. And you know, what about those poor journalists working for the government and other places? He's using, because I must tell this story because you're talking of this, because they try to sometimes tell us what to do and come with rules and regulation, various things. It was purchased by the then Secretary, Charita Herath. It was continued by then they are using. And then, something very interesting, he travels daily from Ragama, daily using this BMW. How much would it cost to travel daily from Ragama to Kirlapana? Taxpayers' money. And then why don't we give the Media Ministry Secretary a house in Colombo? Then you can save that money.
Indeed, indeed. But in all this, we must be very mindful that the people gave a mandate. They gave a mandate to President Maithripala Sirisena. Actually, the people did not elect Ranil Wickremesinghe and anybody else.
And President Sirisena should use it, exercise it.
We must thank President Sirisena for having energized the people to vote for him. And now that he is there, he is making various progresses, and obviously you and I can have this very straightforward conversation on various matters, almost secure in the knowledge that there are no white vans. What do you think of that? No white vans.
See, people say these white vans, black defenders, black helicopter. I haven't seen them.
No.
So it's all, I haven't seen the people who have seen them, they say, or they were taken, transported, they say. So that's what I have to say about it.
And but we have a new freedom, a new independence.
We hope it continues, because
Indeed.
as we expose, as we come out with information, politicians won't like that.
I'd like to ask our fellow citizens who are working at the central bank. We are all waiting for a copy of a letter of restriction that has been placed on a particular company. We'd love to have a copy of that, so that we can share that information with the world, with the public of Sri Lanka and with the world.
Because they owe it to the people of Sri Lanka.
Absolutely. So if you want to whistleblow all you like. It'll be in utter confidence. Mrs. Seniviratne, we are waiting for you. Well, we know that you didn't do it, but
she's transferred, right? She's
transferred to the communications department.
Media ministry.
Well, the former governor obviously had a sense of humor, if nothing else, because I think they took umbrage with her for standing up and so on.
So they thought she's a good communicator.
But yes, exactly, good communicators have gone to the communications department. But anybody from the central bank, listen up, whistleblow as loud as you want to, contact us in absolute confidence, but share that letter with us.
It's not only from the central bank, other government departments, corporations, anybody can give us information.
Wherever there is corruption, we will be there. This network will be there. Trust us, back us up, and we will share that information with everybody, and hopefully name and shame people into action, if nothing else.
And the people should be able to stand up for their rights for us. That's
absolutely, absolutely. And what about this right to information bundle? Can't we use that to get a copy of this letter?
They should be able to. I mean, we should contact the media ministry and ask them what's happening. Maybe we can ask the media ministry to get us a copy.
Oh,
think they'll do it?
That will be wonderful, but I rather suspect that the central bank might say that this is to do with matters of the national economy, and therefore it is some sort of secret.
There are no secrets in this country.
Not when the losses are amounting to 165 billion rupees, spot on, Bandara. That's the calculation.
So people, should be able to learn, and we have the right to question, we have the right to explain. People, it's their right. It's a democratic right.
That's right, but the main thing here is not only to expose what's gone wrong, but a real commitment to actually collect that money. If they were to impose a simple tax, a special one-off tax, right, in which it affects all primary dealers from 2009. Okay. Let's not forget the others.
For us, we
from
need
2005.
Politicians who walk the talk.
That's right.
That's what we need.
That's what they need to do. But they're not walking the talk. I don't know what they're
talking.
They're just talking shop. And talking shop needs to stop, because they are enjoying the fruits of our labors, and they're living in plush, high-rise, in vertical living outlets that cost.
I wonder whether they are living in their luxury vehicles sometimes. They love these vehicles. They are living in all these.
Do you know the danger and the sad part of it, Bandla, is that before we know it, the 5 years will be up, and they'll be using their luxury vehicles to travel up and down the country, making a lot of noise, putting up posters and stickers and God knows what.
That's why the
and
former
trying to
Commissioner
get-
of Elections who was on my program, he said it's very important to empower the people and to educate them on these things.
It is very much so. But aren't you proud that you're playing your own little bit as much as I am and all the other our colleagues at News First? They're all playing their part.
And we are empowering with this. I mean, especially I would say for us, even though this English program, it's very important to empower the Sinhala and the Tamil audiences. That's
Indeed.
very important.
Absolutely. Bandula, have you enjoyed the program this morning?
Very much for us.
Thank you. And we look forward to all those people who are not answered the telephone, where we are inviting them to come on our set and be part of this wonderful program. Please answer the phone and slot us into your diaries. On that note, Bandula, let's say thank you, shall we?
Thank you.
Thank you. And take care. Have a great week ahead. And God bless.